So this is my Sunday night wrap up. It's been rough. We had a teenager in our high school commit suicide on Friday, and he was one of those kids everybody loved, everybody liked, and he wasn't a part of our youth ministry, so to speak, but he was a part of us. There's been a lot of crying, a lot of grief. I was at I got to the high school when a lot of my kids found out, because my husband works with the kid's dad and his brother. It has been a crazy, crazy time. But Sunday night we did something really cool. I texted all my middle school parents and told them not to bring their kids. Well, I mean, in a nice way, to use their discretion as to whether they wanted their kids involved on Sunday night or not. But the truth is, I didn't really want my middle schoolers there. Some parents went through and I'm sorry. My parents went through and texted one another and got the core group of friends of this kids to church on Sunday night. And most of them had one question, and that was, is he going to hell? Now I know this kid loved Jesus. There's nothing that makes me believe that is not true. He accepted Christ a couple years ago. And so that, number one, makes me say, man, yeah, he loved Jesus. So Sunday night, we had 27 high schoolers show up at our church. Now we normally run 15 kids, and that's middle school and high school combined. That's not just our high schoolers. And so we just sat and talked with them, and I answered the question, is he in hell? And I said no. But then after that, we just let them love on one another. We let them grieve with one another. We let them cry. Of course, as any good youth ministry would do, we had pizza and some cookies and brownies and that type of thing. And just said, we love you, we're here for you. This is my number if you don't have it. But it's been rough, man. I'm not gonna lie. One of our fringe kids was his girlfriend, and she's the one who found him. And so I've been at the family's house. I've been at her house, trying to just be a part of the process. What saddens me is that I'm the only pastor that has showed up. Please know, I'm the only youth and children's pastor at our high school. It's a 2A high school in our town, and so I'm it's a small town. I'm the only full-time person, so I've been able to be there and be around. And my pastor went with me to the girls' house because they attended our church at one point, but aren't going anywhere right now. And we were able to talk with her and her sister. But if I'm honest, I never thought this was going to happen in our town. Especially this kid. This kid was funny. He was petty. If somebody said, man, get out, he would call his brother to come pick him up because they told him to get out. And so during Sunday night, we asked them to just tell stories of what they loved and what they remembered and their favorite story of this kid's life or when they were around. I told them, we need to start speaking life to this, and it's sad and it hurts and it sucks bad. But at the same time, let's remember him for who he was. A kid that was full of laughter. A kid who, if you were down, he was going to make fun of you until you were no longer down. This kid loved with everything that he had. He loved life. He loved his family. He loved his friends. He loved soccer. It just makes no sense at all. It doesn't make sense of who he was and of just what was going on. And, I look at it and it's still fresh. Now it's Tuesday. That happened Sunday night. Monday, I was at school for grief counseling. And it was rough, but I was the only counselor there that knew him, that knew the family. And so kids came in and they just hugged me and wept with me. The crazy thing is that at one point I had a classroom full of kids that were mine or my friends' kids or friends of my kids, and we were able to just share those times again. The neat thing is those kids, his best friends, were the ones handling it better than the other kids because we gave them a time to get together the night before they had to go back to school. Luckily, it's a short week because it's Thanksgiving week, and so it wasn't as bad as it could have been because today's the last day of school before Thanksgiving break, and the funeral's tomorrow. And then I'm going on vacation because we have a cruise already planned, and my kids are like, you better buy the Wi-Fi package because I'm gonna need you while you're gone. But I'll buy that Wi-Fi package if I have to make sure that none of the other kids ever feel like they don't have anywhere to go. So many kids and adults missed it on Friday. They missed what he was going through. They just missed it, man. I don't ever want to miss it again. I don't ever want to feel this way where my kids are hurting and there's nothing I can do. I never want to feel this way again. So as youth pastors, what do we do? In grief counseling, you're taught you listen, you empathize, you affirm their feelings, you direct them in a way to help them to grieve, and then you are supposed to refer. So we had 3 psychologists at school yesterday, and we had 2 pastors, myself, counselors from the other schools around, not from the middle school though, because his mom is a teacher at the middle school, and so they had to stay there. But speaking life. Speak life into the situation where you remember the good times, you remember the funny times, because that is going to pull you through more than anything else other than Jesus himself. You remember the good. And I don't know about you, but as a youth pastor, I'm baffled. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Yeah, I took crisis in youth ministry in college. Graduated 10 years ago. And I've been going back to those things. You know, those things that we were taught. But you never think it's going to happen to you. So you put it out of your mind, like, my kids would never do that. Especially not a kid that everybody loves. That looked at me one day and he was like, man, I love your husband so much more than I like you. Well, that's fine. That's fine. I don't care. I don't care. You can like my husband more than you like me. That's okay. But he was doing it to get a rise out of me. Whatever, man. You know, that's who he was. I hope you never have to go through this as a youth pastor. But if you do, give your kids time to grieve by themselves. Let their group come together. We're lucky enough that one of the counselors for the high school goes to our church, and so Sunday night when those kids were there, that counselor was there as well, and I was there, and my pastor was there, and we just listened to them. We loved on them, and we reminded them of the good times. And that is why at school they were much better prepared to walk down the hall. They sat with me and hung out with me and dwelt with me instead of going to class. I think some of it was they didn't want to go to class. But, you know, hey, it's all right. You don't have to go to class. You can hang out with me. It's fine. But it's hard. But I hope that you talk to your kids about suicide. I hope that you talk to your teenagers about having someone to talk to no matter what. No matter if they call you at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I know personal time and family time is important. I was a preacher's kid. I was a youth pastor's kid. We had to leave my 8th birthday at my favorite restaurant because a kid burned down his house. But now I get it. As a youth pastor, now I get it. Those kids needed my dad more than I needed my dad at that moment. So as I go home, I want to remind you to be there, to be available, and to have every kid have your number. So when they feel like there's nothing else they can do, they can call you. They can text you. You can love on them and remind them that it doesn't matter what's going on in their life, that God is there. So that you don't have to go through this. Because I never want to go through this again. That's my Sunday night wrap up. That I pray this doesn't happen to your ministry. But I ask you to give your number to every kid and say, I'm here. You don't have to worry. You can always call. I hope it helps.